Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and this is my review of episode 12 and 13, the final episodes of season 1 in Naomi. So before I get into the review, and this is really so much as a season 1 summing up, let's tackle the elephant in the room and get that out of the way first. The series was cancelled after just one season. And there was 12 other shows that was cancelled, so there's really nothing against the show per se. In fact, how the show was doing was kind of different in comparison to everything else. And the question is was this fair? Well, really nothing is ever fair when it comes to TV networks. There's been a lot of YouTubers that have been poo-pooing on the show from day one, and that always frustrates me because if you don't like the show, it doesn't mean it's bad, it just means that it doesn't suit your taste, and what you might not like, other people might like. It's got its core haters and it's got its core lovers as well. There's tons of shows out there that doesn't suit my taste, but I won't stop others from enjoying it if they like it. As for Naomi, they can hold their heads up high for achieving a core fan base and being the 7th highest rated viewership on the whole CW network. So here's a graph here that I want to show you guys. You can see Texas Walker's #1, Superman and Lois, great show. 2, The Flash, everybody says it's bad, but they're still watching it. And then All American, which is amazing, that's renewed. Kung Fu as well, which I really enjoy. That's #5, that's renewed. Legends of Tomorrow, I kind of fell off that in season 5, but they've cancelled that. Naomi, they've cancelled that. And Backwoman. So you can see, Naomi is the 7th highest. And there's a lot of shows that were cancelled. Legacies, Charmed, 4400, Dynasty. There's a lot of shows that have been cancelled. But the one thing that I have to say is, when you look at shows like Nancy Drew and then Riverdale, Naomi was doing better than all those shows. Even All American Homecoming, which is in #9. So Naomi can hold its head up high that it managed to capture this crowd and this demographic, and they managed to keep that throughout the whole season. So I think that that's something that they can be pretty much proud of. And it seems like the new owners just really want to trim the fat. Now, big media is focused on competing in the global streaming wars. Live linear programming like the CW network in the US and Sky One here in the UK has fallen in great numbers. And at a time when on-demand streaming revolution is really flooding the industry. All of the growth is coming from that sector. And most of them churn out a healthy amount of profit and free cash flow. But the CW is trying to get back there. Our normal TV stations might not be hot these days, but they still have some very good programming. If they get it right, they'll be able to capture what we love about TV shows. Now, Naomi was a show that divided opinion. After episode 13, I felt it pretty much achieved enough to tell a story and give viewers some much-loved characters. The writers also ended this series that felt like our story was finished, for now. Even with the show's initial problems of low production values and poor writing, they polished up most of these problems over the span of the season. The main character, Naomi, was charming, endearing. She related to Superman as a perpetual outsider who could trust nobody but her own instincts. What makes the show work is that all of the central performances were Scooby-Doo Goonies-like Super 8 and very charming. People always ask me what makes a good TV series. Visuals, very important, guys. You don't want a cheap-looking show. But also the #1 reason is strong character development. That's the core of good TV viewing. And the reason why is some people tune in week after week after week. They drive the plot of each episode. Unlike films, which have a limited space in which to show character development, a good TV series enables them to develop and progress the character. And that's what happened with Naomi. Did she achieve that? Yes, she did. But the problem is that everything else around her wasn't done so well, making the series a mixed bag. The conventional structure was okay, but they introduced a conflict to hit the viewer in and set the stage for the plot. They build that tension over the 13 episodes to the big bad. And the show's biggest failure was that we didn't really get the bad guy until the last 10 minutes of the show. And was he great? No. The disappointment with the reveal of Brutus was poor, and his so-called army of weak followings weren't threatening at all, meaning that there was no real high stakes in the end. Now, the writers spent a lot of time into building Brutus to be this formidable monster that destroyed their world. And he was kind of paperweight at the end, even saying he was from another universe. You're bringing all of that to here and it's not really proven to be anything? Maybe it was because the lack of budget was given to the producers that kind of really hurt the show. The lack of resources hurt the visuals, as we all know. We've been talking about that every week. The writing team, the big name network actors, was kind of missing. The good part was that her parents were bad all along. In most of the CW shows, we see famous actors from Smallville, Teen Wolf, Vampire Diaries, and other shows, and we see them kind of switch to different series, don't we? What they may appear on Supernatural, and then they might use them on other series like Legends of Tomorrow, or maybe The Flash. But this show had none of these prestige CW actors. And at times, that kind of hurt the show. A few simple names would have really lifted the stakes. I mean, Brutus was the bad guy, and we all really wanted to see a kind of named actor come in, a prestige actor. And the guy that came on there, not very good. Everyone had an opinion about Naomi's future on the show and what it should be. But I think in this last episode, she stopped listening to her friends and family, and she took responsibility to end it her way. When Naomi reveals to Jen and Greg that she talked to her birth parents, her real parents told her that if Naomi is listening to their message, someone close to her has betrayed her. From there, we kind of started to guess maybe it was her parents, or Zanbadu or Dee. But the way how Dee was endearing, you kind of knew it wasn't that. And Zanbadu was a complete and total change from the comics. So it was only down to the parents. They betrayed her twice before, and it was obvious that they were going to do it again. Their betrayal was done in a way that served the purpose of Naomi's new journey. And it would be exciting if we could see a season 2 where she was on the run from Jen and Greg. Plus, obviously, Greg has ties with the army, and he could have used their resources. But there aren't any female teenage black superhero shows out there right now. And that should be enough for anyone like Netflix or Amazon Prime to pick up this series and give it another go. You know, it worked for Lucifer. They brought that back. But I believe Dee's trip to Gaeolus to find his love could also be a spin-off of sorts, giving us more connections to the DC Arrowverse. Another disappointment with the off-screen fight with Ikera and Brutus. This is something we were kind of, we wanted to see some fight scenes, we wanted to see some action. And we could accept that there's a lot of exposition and drama. We want to know the ins and outs, don't we? But we also want to see the box office stuff. And there was, sadly, no real box office fights in the last episode. She closed down the portal after saving Naomi, and she stands toe-to-toe with Brutus, only for it to cut to a scene where Zanbadu and Naomi are meeting up with each other. I'm not going to lie, I was disappointed. But overall, let me talk about this season rather than the episode. I think this season gets a 7 out of 10. And look, man, at the ending, there was a beautiful scene with Naomi and Dee where they get to compliment what they have done for each other on their journey. It's not just Naomi, guys. It's not just Naomi's growth. It's Dee's too. He's a changed man. And now he's on a mission to find his love. And don't worry about Zanbadu. Believe me, guys, he won't be far behind Naomi. He's always had her back. And that's the biggest surprise from the comics, where he was the big bad. I didn't kind of walk away from this series feeling that I'd wasted my time. As you know, reviews are very time consuming on YouTube. But I felt that we had learned enough to focus on reading the season 2 in the comics. I've only read episode 1 at the moment, and the episode 2 and 3 are already out, which I do have, but I haven't got around to reading them yet. But I would strongly advise for you guys to find the nearest comic shop and do the same. Just pick up the series from there and show your support. The CW new owners felt that, they can't put a show on like this without a teeny budget to work with and expect it to shine for us to love it. A series like this needs a bigger budget. And you may have a great idea for a television show, but have you worked out the overarching plan for the entire series? And what happens to the main characters in seasons 2 or 3? Naomi's journey has just begun. And I believe she's going to try and find a way to get stronger, knowing that she can save her planet. I believe that would be what we'd expect from season 2. And by season 3, I would have guessed she would have joined the Justice League or joined up with Supergirl, Batwoman, The Flash, and the Arrowverse. And Batwoman could have been an amazing role model for Naomi, as well as Supergirl as well. But that's it from me, guys. Listen, thank you for following the series throughout season 1. I will be reviewing other episodes moving forwards. I review a lot of Disney Plus Star Wars stuff and Marvel stuff as well. So listen, continue with me on my journey. I appreciate that and all the love and support you guys have shown for Naomi in season 1. Peace out, guys. Right back at you.